before all you pistol bipod haters flip your shit, I'm putting this on strictly for keeping the firearm upright, to help take video footage, and for accuracy testing. So before you freak out, that's why I'm putting a bipod on a pistol for all you pistol bipod haters. Just playing with you. Nice part about these Grove Tech accessories and this sling, it's made in the USA by American workers, just like this PSA firearm. To the point, formative, entertaining, and protecting the Second Amendment, welcome back to Elster's Rifles and Reloading in part 1 of this Palmetto State Armory AKP and 7.62 by 39 firearm review series. Now before I head forward in this video review series, just want to get something out of the way here quick, because I see this on closed groups, forums. Heck, I've even had people message me all the time with this question. Hey Elster, which one should I get? The PSA AKV in 9mm or the PSA AKP in 7.62 by 39? Now, there really is no right or wrong answer to that question, and it really is all about purpose. You know, if you want something that is really, really soft shooting, quick follow-ups, you don't mind shooting over 100 yards, maybe 150, and that's about it, the AKV in 9mm might be the route to go. But if you want something a heck of a lot more hard hitting, you want to reach out the distance, maybe even up to 400 or 500 yards, the AKP might be your choice. Now, between these two, to fire them in regards to ammunition, you're really only talking about 1 to 2 cents difference. You know, you can get some pretty quality 9mm ammo for the AKV, roughly 16 to 18 cents a round. When it comes to the AKP at 7.62 by 39, in my opinion, it's all about really cheap, inexpensive Wolf steel case ammunition that you can usually hook up with shipped for about 18 to 20 cents per round. And if you want that hard-hitting cartridge, a little more distance, the AKP might be the ticket for you. Now, before I go on with this series, let me show you the ballistics between these two. Now, using my ballistics AE program on Apple products, the one on the right is the 9mm, the one on the left is a 7.62 by 39 steel case Wolf ammunition. Now, this is just very generic information here. I didn't chronograph this, but this is just to give you guys an idea. Now, both of these are set at a 50-yard zero, which that's what I intend on doing. And it's what I have done with my PSA AKV. You can see there's not much of a difference between 25 and 50-yard zero. I'm still only 2 inches of drop from 50 to 75, but you can see at 100 it really starts to drop like a rock with a 9mm PSA AKV. I mean, heck, from 100 to 125 yards, no joke, it's damn near doubled in size in regards to the amount of drop in inches. So that's what I was saying earlier. If you're not going to shoot over 100, 150 yards, the AKV might be the route to go for you, especially very soft shooting, easy follow-ups, very close combat situations. Now, with the 7.62 by 39, I also plan on doing a 50-yard zero. You can see at 25 yards, it's -1 inch. 50-yard zero, it zeroes out. And I'm all the way up to roughly 160 yards where it's -1 inch. And I would say I'm clear up to minute of man size up to roughly 250 yards, which I think in this situation with the AKP and a 50-yard zero, that is going to be the route to go. Now, in regards to the energy foot-pounds at the muzzle, you're roughly going to be looking at 1,500 foot-pounds, and with the 9mm, you're about 350. You know, you're dropping clear down to roughly 250, 260 at 150 yards. And I'm still at 625 at 300 yards. So obviously, I mean, this is a no-brainer. This cartridge is going to pack a heck of a lot more punch than the 9mm for obvious reasons. But just to give you guys an idea in regards to the bullet trajectory and energy foot-pounds at different ranges, I hope this helps you out. Now the AKP with a Romeo Red Dot 5 and a couple accessories, you're looking at 7 pounds, 9.8 ounces. And with a fully loaded 30 round PMag, 9.21 ounces. Okay, so let's check out the trigger pull weight on the stock AKP and verify this firearm is empty.
4 pounds, 13 ounces. 4 pounds, 15 ounces. 4 pounds, 15 ounces.
And 4 pounds, 11 ounces for an average of 4 pounds, 13 ounces. And for those that are just curious between the length difference between the PSA AK-47 and the AKP, well, here you go. Now with SBA3 brace completely collapsed, with the crank style brake installed, you're right at 29 inches. And with the crank style brake removed, 27 inches, 2 inches less. And if you're curious, with the SBA3 fully extended, you're about 31 1/2 inch. All right, so let's just plow through the quick overview of this PSA AKP before we head out to the range. Now the AKP comes with a 30 round PMag. I did hook up with a 10 round PMag for accuracy testing to show you guys how accurate this firearm is by using a rear sandbag. If you're a weekend warrior, I know a lot of you guys like to shoot off a bench, maybe with a front sandbag. So that might be something to keep in mind. You might want to hook up with a 10 round PMag. Now the P in AKP stands for pistol, and that comes from this SBA3 brace. This is actually classified as a pistol and it's not a rifle. That's strictly because we have a pistol brace on this firearm. Now they do have available now some triangular shaped pistol braces and some foldable braces. That's something to keep in mind when you're making that PSA AKP purchase. They also have some adapters to change this current setup with a non-foldable SBA3 brace to foldable. And I'll put a picture about right here to show you what that adapter looks like. But this allows you to purchase this firearm without a special SBR tax stamp. Now, as of October 2019, which I got a feeling this is going to change here in about 3 or 4 months, but as of right now, these AKPs are coming out as the GF3 model, or I would consider the Generation 3. The previous model, or Gen 2, which was the GB2, actually had a billet front trunnion with a billet bolt and a hammer forged carrier. These GF3s are now completely hammer forged on the front trunnion, the bolt, and the carrier. So that definitely increases the longevity of this firearm. Now I went to the Palmetto State Armory Media Days tour roughly about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I did talk to Chris, the main spokesperson for PSA, and he says that the new Lead Star versions of the AKP have a special steel moly front trunnion, which they typically use in airplanes on their landing gear, which even increases that service longevity of this firearm even further. And you can purchase that right now with the Lead Star version, which I'm going to put a picture of it right here. But right now, the GF3 models are coming with just hammer forged front trunnions and not this special steel molly. I'm not even sure what it is, but special aircraft landing gear steel construction front trunnions, which I'm gonna splice in that video feed right now. Now, you guys have been doing a lot with Leadstar. You just came out with their similar AKP with Leadstar.
So Leadstar's AKP. Speaking of that trunnion, Leadstar Arms, if you're not familiar, is a high-end manufacturer of race-ready guns. If you want to compete and you want to be competitive in the speed shooting world, Leadstar is your place to go. There's an entire science behind why Derek and Leadstar build the Leadstar guns the way they do. Derek is fantastic to have as part of our family of companies. It's not that PSA owns Leadstar, it's that we're both owned by the same company. So Derek has brought a lot of innovation and forward thinking into the way Palmetto State Armory does things as well. We're able to kind of borrow his genius, if you will. And I'm not saying it because I think he'll see it. I'm telling you legitimately, the man's a genius, and he is just a ton of fun to talk to. So if you get a chance, stop and talk to him. Maybe you already did.
He is an amazing guy.
Isn't he?
Very informative, and he really knows his stuff.
So yeah, he's worked on those trunnions on the Leadstar AK. It's got a 70% higher yield strength, which he would be much better at telling you about. But the way my simple mind understands that is that essentially where a normal trunnion would start to wear, this one you get 70% more. So don't kill the messenger if that's wrong. No, but legitimately that's the way it works. You're getting that much more life out of that front trunnion. They're using a new steel on it that is patent pending and proprietary. It's an alloy that is used in aircraft landing gears. That's how strong that front trunnion is.
Which are available on the Leadstar versions of the AKP, which I'm sure that is why it warrants its premium. Now, going from the rear to the front, the safety on the dust cover, it is flared out, so there's definitely a very tactile stop to that, which is really nice. You know, it's good tension on the safety, so that is really impressive. The rear sight is fixed, and we have a 90-degree, what they call a combo block, which takes care of the front sight and the gas port. And the front crank brake, which is absolutely necessary. You got to keep this on for function. It creates some type of back pressure, which allows the bolt to function. Now, for me personally, I'm actually a big fan of the Magpul Furniture AKPs. I like the fact that it has storage capabilities in here. I keep my dust rag and my removal tool for my red dot in the grip itself. And we got the MOE AKM front handguard, which in my opinion is awesome for heat dispersal. You could shoot this all day long, and you know, just be honest with you, I did shoot that Leadstar with the steel handguard at the PSA event, and after about 200-300 rounds, man, you couldn't even hold that steel handguard. On this handguard, and I'm hoping that they put some type of heat shield in there to help disperse that heat a little bit better, because after about 200-300 rounds, no joke, you could have fried an egg on that steel handguard. And the ones with the MOE AKM handguard, they could go all day long. Something else you can look at if you're concerned about heat issues, especially with that front handguard, roughly about 3 or 4 weeks ago, they came out with the red wood furniture AKPs with the grip and the handguard, and man, I think that looks sexy as hell. And I think I'm actually going to try and hook up with the grip and the handguard in the red wood furniture and try and put that maybe in the second episode of this series. I think it looks really sharp. And I'm also going to try and hook up with the triangular shaped foldable buttstock to show you guys how easy it is to install that option. And also with the wood furniture, I think that would really help with continuous rates of fire and not burning your hand when you're gripping that handguard. Now, the internals of the AKP and your regular AK-47 are in essence the same. The trigger, you name it inside, other than your piston. Now your AKP, obviously due to the shorter length and the shorter barrel, is going to have a smaller or shorter piston to it in comparison to an AK-47. And the trigger is just a single hook standard AK-47 trigger. And man, I tell you, there is not an ounce of wobble in this dust cover, and I can't wait to get to the range and test this out. Now, if for some reason you need to use this scope rail, it is on there as an option. And like I stated before, you got to have this crank style brake on the AKP for function purposes. But for some reason, if you want to put on your own muzzle device, the AKP does come with an M24 by 1 1/2 inch right hand threading. Enough of the BS talk. Let's take this out to the range. Now that's some hard hitting stuff. Okay, so this is first shots down the tube of the PSA AKP. We're just going to start out at 25 yards here. And I just take 2 quick 5-shot groups. And I just got this zeroed in, so it's marginally zeroed. And let's get this party started. This is with a Romeo Red Dot 5. Alright, so that's 5 rounds. Okay, so those first 5 shots was full metal jacket, Wolf steel case ammunition. We're going to take another 5 shots at 25 yards, but this will be with the Wolf hollow point. All right, so keep in mind, I'm not the only one here at the range. You might hear some people over there shooting. Let's go check out at 25 yards how this hollow point Wolf steel case ammunition did. Holy smokes, I'd say that is pretty darn impressive. You know, this full metal jacket did pretty good, but this hollow point is just one ragged hole. Wow, that is really good at 25 yards, and I can't wait to stretch the legs out down to 50. Let's quick score this up, just like magic. Okay, so a little test that we're going to do here is we're going to take three 3-shot groups at 50 yards. I got the Romeo 5 red dot marginally zeroed at 50 yards, at least close enough, so they should be in the black. Now this is going to be about bullseyes. This is going to be about initial group impact locations and the shift of those 3-shot groups when I open and close this dust cover between those groups. So like I said, it's not about bullseyes. It's going to be more about the actual impact of each group to see if there's a gross shift in those impacts between the groups as I open and close this dust cover. So we're going to start out in the top left-hand corner there with 3 shots of full metal jacket. All right, so that was 3 shots of the full metal jacket. I'm going to load up 3 rounds of the hollow point. We're going to open, close this dust cover to see if we get any huge points of impact shift. Now I'm going back and forth from the full metal jacket to the hollow point to disperse the amount of heat in that barrel. Let's see what we come up with. At the bottom left-hand corner of the hollow point. All right, we're back on the full metal jacket. 3 rounds. Open and close this dust cover. All right, onto the top middle. What I'm trying to do is get perfect cheek weld, keeping that red dot dead center of that Romeo 5. All right, so 3 more rounds of the hollow point. Open and close this dust cover. All right, we are going all the way through on all 6 3-shot groups. All right, 3 rounds of full metal jacket. And close this. Okay, 3 rounds of hollow point. Our last 3-shot group. This will be in the bottom right-hand corner. Open and close the dust cover. All right, bottom right group. That's it. Let's go down and see how we did. All right, I would say with the full metal jacket here, I would say our center's here, here, and here. So I would say that's pretty darn consistent. And like I said, this isn't about bullseyes. This is about gross shifts in group impacts. So I would say here, here, and here. So I would say that's very consistent. Obviously, different types of ammo are going to impact paper differently. And I had this zeroed for the hollow point. You know, the hollow point, I would say our center was here, here, that's dead center, and here. And I can tell you right out of the gate that this firearm likes these hollow points, just like at 25 yards. I'm getting some pretty smoking groups here on the 2nd and 3rd shots for the hollow point. So I got a feeling that, not really a feeling, I pretty much know for sure already, that this 10.5-inch AKP is going to favor the hollow points for sure. And I would say the hollow points are destroying the full metal jackets. And these points of impact on the 3 different groups between opening and shutting that dust cover is very, very consistent. Good job, PSA. Okay, so being that the hollow points perform so well, we're going to run a 6x5 at 50 yards, which is 6 groups, 5 shots each, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to be shooting right past my camera, so that's how much faith I got in this thing. Alright, so it looks like I'm hitting a little high there. I'm going to adjust this down just a little bit. Next, we're going to move on to the second 5-shot group. Okay, on to the third 5-shot group. Okay, we're shooting these all in a row, so I'm sure this barrel is getting nice and toasty. We're on the fourth 5-shot group. Got a little bit of a flyer bottom left. Okay, on to the fifth 5-shot group. Okay, so last and final 6 5-shot group. 50 yards, no magnification, and a 105 like that. All right, that's it. Let's go down and see how we did. So yeah, not too bad. I mean, this first group was a little high, so I shifted down on the red dot. So the rest of these are pretty much all right in the center, so that's it. It's really good. I would say the best group here is, gosh, probably a toss-up between this first and third 5-shot group. That's pretty darn impressive for a 10.5-inch 8K pistol at 50 yards. So let's score this up just like magic. Okay, so before we wrap this up here in part 1, I figured we'd have a little fun with the steel spinner down there. Now those little circles are about 3 1/4 inches, so this is a pretty good test for this AKP, which I'm sure these 7.62 by 39 rounds are going to destroy that thing. Probably knock it over in a couple rounds, and once that happens, we'll move on to the 10-inch plate. This should be kind of fun. Show you guys how much hit power we got there at 50 yards. And start out with that steel spinner. And man, I gotta tell you, those little white circles are pretty hard to make out here, but I'll try my best here. So I'm gonna start out with that top spinner. I'm sure this is gonna blow it right over, but we'll see. Down for the count. So much for that. That is so fun. I love it. I love it. All right, let's move on to that 10-inch steel plate. All right, let's head down and see how we did. All right, let's see how much damage I just did to my spinner. Oh man, just destroyed it. Let's see here. Oh yeah, man, that's a nice little dent there. Oh yeah. Oh well, you gotta have a little fun. Probably shouldn't be shooting this because it's not AR 500 steel at 50 yards, but oh well. Got a nice little dent there. So if you guys have seen this spinner, my previous videos with the 9mm definitely gives you an idea of how much more hitting power that this AKP has. So I definitely won't be shooting that again. But as for the 10-inch round gong here, a very centered, really tight group. You know, I would say, man, that's actually pretty good for 9 rounds. I'd say that's about 1.5 inches. But let's score this up with my computer program, just like magic. Now, before I wrap things up here in part 1, I just want to be straight up honest with you guys with full disclosure. I did get this sent to me by PSA. Now, in absolutely no way does that influence this review. I showed you guys just how it happened out at the range, every single shot. And out of all those rounds fired, there wasn't one single failure to feed or eject. And I'm really impressed with this PSA AKP so far. You know, it might not be as saw shooting with easy follow-ups like the PSA AKV and 9mm. This 7.62 by 39 that you can get for roughly 1 to 2 cents more per round. Man, is it ever heavy hitting, just like I show you guys on that spitter at 50 yards. And it can reach out to further distances, like 200 yards, without doing any specific holdover with a red dot, just like I had this set up with the Romeo 5. That pretty much wraps up part 1 here, and I will see you guys in part 2.